Hey guys, it's been a while since I've made a video. Um, Lately I've been seeing random content around on YouTube about people talking about their experiences, feeling like they needed to create rather than constantly consume so much. And at first I didn't really think a whole lot about it. When I saw those videos, I clicked on one and watched it. Thought it's some good advice, definitely. But then I started seeing some other ones randomly show up, and as I saw more of it, it just felt like I felt kind of like God was also telling me to continue doing this after I had stopped for a while. I don't even remember when the last time I made a video was. Because I don't even know what to make a video about for today. But I suppose that doesn't really even matter. It's just about practicing making content again. So today I was thinking about talking about Israel and the Iran conflict, I suppose. One thing I want to highlight, especially from what I've been reading lately specifically, was God highlighting the experience of Israel as basically both literally but also metaphorically all of us. A people that God, did a lot for, that went to him, then would go away from him, then would beg for his mercy again, then would go away from him, then beg for his mercy again. It's kind of, when you look at it more from a bigger perspective, it seems like it's said every single one of us is like how ancient Israel was. People who were constantly wanting God's forgiveness, yet later on have no problem straying away again, then, praying for his mercy again, over and over and over again. I know it definitely fit me when thinking about it. I just thought it was definitely something I should start off with, that, I know Israel has done a lot of things in their past, not just the present, that you might not like, either from a religious or political perspective. But we're all, sinners, I suppose, to put it. It's just hard to, I guess, sit here as a Christian and weigh on the war going on over there, I guess. Because we're supposed to believe, they're God's chosen people. And some debate whether or not that's, even the people of today or not, or if it was just the ancient Israelites. And for me, I don't even know the answer to that. I haven't really given it much thought. But it does, as Paul says several times in his letters, first for the Jew, then for the Gentile. Like when God comes back and will judge the dead, it says first for the Jew, then for the Gentile. So I'd be more inclined to say, they are still God's chosen people. As for the war over there, I think it best as a Christian to just pray for all the people that are affected by it. Don't just look at it as a perspective of, Iran's just completely evil. Let's completely level it and destroy every single person that lives there. I think you should pray for the leadership of all countries involved, and pray for all the people who are, or all the citizens who are just trying to live their lives that are being affected by this. As God shows unfailing love and mercy to all those who seek Him, He also wants us to, pray for those who don't know Him. Just because people in Iran aren't Christian or Jewish doesn't mean we should think of them as subhuman, or that's not the right word, not subhuman, but just not as important as us, I guess. Just remember that we're all human. And as I mentioned Paul once already, I'll mention him again, saying, do not be so quick to judge others, but remember to love one another, and to try and, correct one another in gentleness and kindness and love. But to ultimately remember God is the ultimate judge. You're not the judge to hand out, some foreigner, whether in our land or their land, their ultimate sentence. God is the ultimate judge between the living and the dead. So leave it up to Him to hand that out. But I think regarding military action wise, if there is actual strong evidence that they stockpiled whatever it was, uranium, and amounts far exceeding what they really needed, then yeah, I do think something should have been done about it. I just wish it wouldn't involve harming civilians in the process. It's hard to say, what I think as a Christian they should do. Because obviously, if you're like the U.S. military leadership, you can't just strike one little facility and call it a day and think Iran's just gonna completely give up, because it just doesn't work like that. But I just think the most important thing to highlight is to pray for them, not just for us. To remember God is the ultimate judge, not us. To love one another, regardless of if they're a believer or not. As it says in, I believe, Jude 1:24, be merciful to those who doubt. And, it's just real easy sometimes in our heads to think of the people in the Middle East as evil, terrible, no good enemies of ours. And it's like, probably a 95% majority of them are just normal people trying to live their lives and don't want anything to do with what's going on. I don't think it's right for us as Christians to sit here and, make jokes about it or laugh about it or what have you for, destruction that's killing innocent people. Yeah. I have a bunch of other ideas coming up. One would be, I think in the next video I'm going to talk about friends and family and relationships. And then in another video I want to talk about the church, I suppose. Yeah, the last thing I'll say is just to be very careful of what you see on social media. As Christ said, as well as Paul said, there will be many wolves in sheep's clothing who will disguise themselves as teachers or knowers of the truth, who will dilute your spirit from the truth. If you want to know how to truly feel about this sort of stuff, just pray about it. Ask God about it. Don't just think, oh, this is what I think about it religiously, so I'm just gonna believe that. As God has highlighted countless times, we are not all knowledgeable, we're all wise, or what have you. Seek Him and His kingdom first, which definitely involves being wise and seeking Him. I should also highlight the wisest man that ever lived was Solomon. And guess what? And you already know what happened to him. That was apparently the wisest man who ever lived. And you know what happened to him. So I think it important to highlight, you're not all wise, neither am I. And to remember to reflect with God on how to feel about this stuff. Pray about it. Pray for others going through all of this, especially for those directly involved and stuff like that. I just hope that the countries will come to a more civil and merciful conclusion to all this so that innocent people stop dying. But I hope all of you who see this, if anyone does even see this, has a good day.